Hello everyone. Well, Halloween is almost here, but if you're not yet in the full Halloween spirit, if you have some Halloween malaise going on, if you're just not feeling it this year, well, I have the cure. These 3 horror books that are set in October and on Halloween by different authors are going to put you right back in that place you need to be for the spooky season. These are all fantastic and covering a wide range of supernatural and horrifying subjects, and you will want to purchase them all. But at first I want to remind you that I have horror books for sale, and if you want to read any of the books you see on your screen, there is a link in the description where you can do so. Alright, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called Carrick Glen by Tony Urban. This came recommended to me from one of my subscribers, so thank you, Leslie. Yes, I do listen and read your comments, as you know. And when she told me about it, I decided to buy it. And then when I bought it, I decided I wanted to read it. And then once I started reading it, I couldn't stop because it was that good. And I decided to include it in this video. This is about a town that has outlawed Halloween, basically, for anybody over the age of 12. And they said, no more trick-or-treating, no more going out in costume because you're too old for that kind of childish thing. Well, one of those kind of deals. And our main protagonist, this makes him extremely upset because he's obsessed with Halloween. He loves Halloween. He and his mother used to celebrate this holiday together, and he has fond memories of that before she went missing. He's also got a couple of best friends, and they're kind of growing apart, going their different ways, kind of. And even though they're only, 14, 15 years old, he senses that this might be the last Halloween they can spend as a group to celebrate the holiday. And it's distressing to him that they did this, that the town did this to him. One day they meet a girl from the local orphanage, and she says, hey, my hometown called Carrick Glen, they love Halloween. Everybody celebrates. Everybody is welcome. You're never too old. And it'll be the best Halloween you've ever had if you want to go. So she kind of invites them to go with her because she has a grandfather there that she wants to go see. And so our protagonist talks his friends into going. They're not as into it as he is, but he kind of has a crush on this girl now, and he kind of wants to go, and not just for the Halloween, but to maybe get back some of those feelings of his mother, he had with his mother. And plus the fact that he has a crush on this girl doesn't hurt. And so they go to this town called Carrick Glen, and they are welcomed with open arms. They have a great trick-or-treating in this old-fashioned, kind of off-the-grid, rustic-style living village. Everybody welcomes them. Their bags are full. The town's preparing a feast for the end of the harvest, and they are invited to enjoy and participate. But of course, this is a horror book, and pretty soon there are going to be some weird things that start happening, some cryptic things. And eventually this is going to lead to horrifying things. Unbelievable beasts that are going to be in the forest. A blood sacrifice that has to be performed. They find themselves trapped in this town. The way they came in is no longer available to them. And but the thing I really loved about this book is the reasoning why these rituals take place. What is the main motivation for these people to perform these rituals and do these things? And that was something different, I thought, something very unique. And this author's writing style draws you in right away. It's really, that first chapter just grabs your attention and starts bringing that creepy feeling. And then we come into this coming of age folk horror novel set in Halloween, kind of, and it's just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. Thank you again for recommending it, Leslie. And of course, I will highly recommend it to you. And you can pick up your copy of Carrick Glen at the link in the description. And next we have The Vengeance of the Crows by Kyle Alexander Romines. This is part of a trilogy, I believe, but they're all standalone novels. And this one is great. It kind of has some of the themes from the last book, except the protagonists in this book, the characters, are like 18 years old, 17, 18. They're about to graduate high school. They're about to go to college. They're off on their own separate ways. And they want to have one last hurrah. They have different things going on in their lives. You know, everybody has different issues. And throughout this book, we're going to learn some things about each of these characters from their past that kind of explains why they are the way they are. And but they're all getting together for one last hurrah, and they decide to go out to this cabin in the woods for a weekend near Halloween. And this author throws everything, including the kitchen sink, at these characters. There's no lull in the action here or the horrors that are presented. There are so many different things in here this author has integrated into the novel. You have a cult in a cornfield performing a ritual to bring back an old god from the earth. You have a living scarecrow that comes back, or not back, but just comes to life, dragging a pitchfork, stalking these kids through the woods and around the area. And separate from the cult, you have an old man, an old hillbilly who lives in the woods. He's been living there for years, and he's a serial killer. For all these years, he's hunted and tracked and killed hikers and people who got lost in the woods in that area, and burying their bodies in shallow graves and leaving body parts laying around. And he does this because there's a voice in the cave telling him to do it. And yes, there is something in the cave as well. In addition to all those factors, you have thousands and thousands of crows that are doing its master's bidding, the leader of this cult. And they act as his eyes and as his ears to keep track of where these kids are, so he's always kind of one step ahead. And they will attack and kill and maim and tear away flesh on his command. And in the meantime, there's a spell around the area, so the kids can't leave. And they either have to make it to daylight, when the ritual, the effects of the ritual will not be any longer. Like if they make it to daylight, the ritual stops basically. But they have a long night to survive with all these different elements, and like I said, this author puts them through hell, puts them through the ringer. They're bruised, they're battered, there's life and death situations, there are close calls around every corner from all these different factors trying to get at them. And it makes for a very exciting, action-packed horror novel. And yes, I highly recommend it. I enjoyed this one tremendously. And there is a link down below where you can purchase your copy through Amazon. And next we have Pumpkin Man by Penny Moons. If you've read any of Penny Moons' other books, like I have, you'll know that she says this about her own books. Like, these are not to be taken seriously. These are B-movie, over-the-top, goofy, bloody, brutal fun. That's all they're meant to do, and this one certainly does that. There's no hidden messages, no deeper meaning in her books. She writes from a place of fun in her heart. You can just tell that when you're reading. And you get that experience as you're reading any of her books. And this is about the Pumpkin Man. He's in a town on Halloween. He looks like a man, but he has a head that's a pumpkin. Not a pumpkin mask and not a carved out pumpkin somebody put on their heads. His head is actually a pumpkin, but he's got the body of a human. And he's just going to try to kill as many people as he can in this small town on Halloween. And he's a goofy kind of character. He has some pretty cool one-liners there, and makes it kind of fun and kind of darkly humorous, and yet he's the bad guy. He's going to do all these bloody, brutal, terrible things. You know, you bump into him accidentally and forget to say, excuse me, well, off with your head, kind of thing. A couple police officers in town, and they're going around scrambling, trying to figure out where are all these bodies coming from, and body parts laying everywhere, and there are all these people calling the police, and I love their relationship together. But like I said, this isn't meant to be deep. This isn't meant to be anything other than what it is, which is a good, fantastic, goofy, fun, over-the-top horror novel. And I always appreciate that every once in a while. And if you're looking for something like that, you can't go wrong with Penny Moons. Trust me. I've reviewed her book, Slasher Witch at the Water Park, earlier, and I'm just a fan. I love her books, and you should definitely pick this one up. There is a link down below where you can purchase your copy through Amazon. All right, and as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time, spending it here with me. I really appreciate you guys watching. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.